Will the courts kill President Trump's tariffs? It might happen. Hello, I'm Steve Forbes, and this is What's Ahead, where you get the insights you need to better navigate these turbulent times. The president's power to impose tariffs is being challenged in several lawsuits. The issue will likely end up in the Supreme Court in a case that would be one of the most consequential economically, rivaling the 1935 decision when the High Court unanimously demolished the principal pillar of Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, the National Recovery Administration, the NRA. That agency had sweeping, extraordinarily intrusive powers to regulate industries in all facets of how they operated, including wages and prices. This week, the obscure but powerful New York City-based Court of International Trade heard arguments as to whether President Trump has the legal authority to apply tariffs. This largely unknown federal court adjudicates trade and tariff issues, such as whether duties have been correctly applied to an item, or a company is selling a product below its fair market value, i.e. engaging in dumping. A New York-based wine importer, VOS Selections, and 4 other small businesses filed a lawsuit asserting that the president doesn't have the right to impose tariffs on his own. The administration says he does under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act, the IEEPA. That statute doesn't use the words taxes and tariffs, but it does give the commander-in-chief broad powers to respond to national emergencies. Government lawyers say the U.S.'s growing trade deficit constitutes such an emergency, and therefore the president is within bounds regarding tariffs. The plaintiffs, represented by the Liberty Justice Center, a libertarian litigation firm, made short shrift of the government's emergency rationale. The U.S. has had trade deficits for most of its history, as it became the mightiest nation in history. It had trade surpluses during the Great Depression, when unemployment reached 25%, 6 times what it is today. The trade shortfall grew as the economy grew in the 1980s and 1990s. Moreover, U.S. imports as a portion of the economy is the lowest of any advanced country in the world. Trade numbers ignore massive capital flows. In other words, trade deficits or surpluses by themselves tell us nothing about the health of an economy. This court will hold another hearing next week. No one knows when it might render a decision. Several Democrat state attorneys general also have a case on the docket here, which will come before the court next week. There are other judicial assaults, with suits being filed in regular federal courts. A major argument is that tariffs are a tax, and only Congress under the Constitution can enact taxes. President Trump seems to be making a 10% tariff rate a permanent baseline number. This hardly qualifies as a temporary emergency response. Similarly, an argument is being made that under Supreme Court rulings, Congress must clearly give a federal agency the authority to decide an issue of major political or economic importance. For example, the justices previously ruled that President Biden didn't have the authority to unilaterally forgive student loans. So be on the lookout. Tariffs are kindling major judicial fireworks. I'm Steve Forbes. Thanks for listening. Do send in your comments and suggestions. I look forward to being with you soon again.